Hello. Hello, Nita.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So it is very good to have this chats on our forest ministry, and that we will let the flow go with each other on sharing what is our foreign ministry and our journey on of how our foreign ministry has been grown with the flow of love. So, Nita, would you like to share? Would you like to begin on our forest ministry on God's love culture?
I think that the how we wanted to have this conversation was because of our own private conversation about, how things have changed and moved for you since you've moved into your forest home, which is now about a month and a half, 2 months now.
Yeah, about 2 months now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that having lived in surrounded by a physical forest for almost 2 months, the things that very naturally transpired for you, in the sense of whether we call it transformation, whether we call it evolution, just that shift or change that we have found in ourselves, I think. So that was the desire of that moment of this conversation. And in a very general way, I see this forest ministry platform, whatever we may call it, I see our forest as a place to not just bring sanctuary to people who find us, to not just bring nourishment to people who come to this forest, but that we may, for you in a physical forest, for myself, not so physical forest, how do we live that nature? Not just that call, a very basic call from Mother Earth, but to go back to our own personal origins. Recently, I was thinking that, if we have a job, people talk about soul purposes. I wonder if perhaps there is no purpose for a soul. What if we merely wanted to come to experience or to bring physical manifestation on this planet Earth for a chance to experience physical manifestation of freedom. Freedom in the sense of being free of captivity, slavery, freedom in all the sense of the word, for that, however it may mean for each person. And so if there is a job for our soul or for us, then the only job is to keep on journeying towards our true selves. And because we will change, we ourselves are in evolution. Like, I was thinking to myself that I turned 40 this year, maybe 2 weeks ago. And that sense of I am happy and grateful where I am. I am where I'm not so much that I'm meant to be, but I am where my heart desires to be, whether or not I knew it before. That sometimes it may mean that I have to actually experience this, actually be in this place, this life, this lifestyle, even to realize that this was actually what I wanted, what my heart or my soul desired. And I didn't know it before, for the very simple reason that I didn't walk this walk before. Perhaps, a lot we ourselves have dealt with things like therapy or counseling or psychology, right, etc. And teachers have said over and over again how we need to teach students differently. Some people are visual learners, some are auditory, some are more kinesthetic. So perhaps then I would call myself a more kinesthetic learner, that I have to walk the walk before I realize that this is what I love, this is what I want, or this is what I desire. Yet at the same time, if I look back 10 years ago when I was 30, I can honestly say that was what I wanted at that time too. It may be a very different life from now, but that's that sense of being true to ourselves. That each moment, each phase in our life, we are asking, is this what I really, really want? And it's not from a very narcissistic point of the view, right? Like a lot of people think that when we talk about what we want in the world, in the secular world today, it seems very selfish and narcissistic. I think that is that discernment, for lack of a better word, the discernment or the differentiating of what my heart and my soul truly desired, versus not so much what I want in my head, but what I thought I wanted because of the influence of society, my upbringing, my education, my training, etc. But that when my life experiences meets and am on par with my heart and soul desires, this is how I know this is what I want. When they meet, when they are in sync, when they are in balance. And yes, it will be different when we were 20, when we were 30, and now 40, and probably 10 years from now, it will keep changing, for the very simple reason that we will keep changing. But it's also it's not narcissistic in the sense that it's not just being true to me, myself, but I think it's also being true to the core of the greater world, the greater society. We talk about the needs of society, that that balancing of self and others. So I think that when it is a heart and soul desire, it is in sync, in balance, also meets the desires of other people's hearts and souls.
Yes.
And that is when we not only, like I say, we not only come to this earth, whether we use the word reincarnate, whether we say, our soul chose to come into life, that the purpose of coming into life to manifest as a physical being is to manifest freedom, perhaps from the way it's changed over the centuries, like, we are still not completely free of physical human slavery, because human trafficking still exists, etc., etc. So, but yes, hopefully for each soul, each spirit, again, like I say, whether we use the word reincarnation, to find freedom. Maybe that is what the Buddhists meant from the truer sense of the word, being free of samsara, being free of suffering, that you become more enlightened with each lifetime, but really that sense of not so much being enlightened, but seriously living freedom more deeply, more fully.
Yeah, I resonate very much when you share about the freedom. If I have not walked the path, I think it's not just walk the path, but written. It is, as you say, as you mentioned about the heart and soul desire. I remember in 2015, when my soul calls and screamed literally so loud to come home. What is actually coming home? I think is coming home to my whole being, who I am, my true self, and from there, as I took on the path of contemplation with you, this is just a very natural way of me to come back, and that's where I truly sense the freedom that you were talking about. Before that, I don't think I had any freedom at all. It's like I feel, for me, it's like I've been writing also, like I felt that my whole life been confined in a box. It's like whether it's in an educations, or whether is it in the society image, or whether in my own belief system as well. So I felt to really, I talk about metaphor, is really like literally like I'm in a cage up, like a, when I see a bird being caged up, I felt like, oh, I'm just like the little bird being caged up. So when my heart and my soul, as you say, come to merge as one, um, my whole being, and the desire becomes very clear for me to also live a semi-hermit life. Yeah, at the beginning I thought it was a semi-monastic life, but actually it's not. It's because semi-monastic life, still there is a particular routine, particular way of being. Some people are caught to that, but for me, because I don't like to be boxed in. So as you mentioned about, we what what we think about what is a semi-hermit life. So it really dawned on me, say, yeah, it's not the hermit where I isolate myself from the world, where I think probably the impression that most people get, that oh, you live a semi-hermit life, so you mean you are cutting off yourself from the world, cutting off yourself from people. No, actually it's not at all. Like you have shared, it is really a balance between our own life and serving others. Very much of that, because the world, and my own world as well, is like it's crazy. It's been crazily being hectic, and there's always this off balance, being tilted off from the cliff. The image came to me, like being tilted off from the cliff, and often when we go off balance, when I go off balance for myself, I tend to get irritated, annoyed, frustrated, and something is, your body will signal to you, your emotion will signal to you, and you know that something is not balanced anymore. So the more I walk on this path, like I'm also a very kinesthetic person like Nita as well. So it's like to live, to walk and be. I believe in that very much. I first have to walk myself, to experience it, what it is. Then I can understand. I think it's not the word understand, more of embodying the light, embodying what truly is, um, to our heart and soul desire. And this is my heart and soul desire. There's nothing wrong living in the city. There's nothing wrong in the life that everyone chooses. But I think the key is more of, does it open your heart even more to love? Love for yourself, love for others, love for the environment, as I will say. It's not just the nature, but when I live in this forest, I'm quite astonished by the rubbish that is being thrown into the forest as we as we walk, and I collected the trash, and I like it, when if you truly love the environment, whether it's in nature or whether anywhere that you go, it's a very instinctively, naturally, that because of the love that you have, you will think twice of throwing the rubbish on the floor. Isn't it true, Nita? Yeah. So I really feel that whether you're living in a city, like I love what Nita shared at the time, you can be very zen living in the city. Yeah, yes, it's true. I think it's more of by being true to ourselves, by being true to our soul and heart desire, that for me, I really discovered the expansion of the heart, the expansion of the love, not just for myself, but is like even for the fly, the bees, and for the nature, that it's you really expands. I have never had that before. I mean, I experience bit by bit, as I going through my own journey. But the moments when I say yes to the foreign ministry, yes to being a spiritual director, suddenly I felt, whew, like it's infinity. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm a very kinesthetic person, and you really feel this expansion. Suddenly, it's like, wow, the word interconnected is more than interconnected. It's like a you, you, everyone is like a God, as really literally as like one, and I can just be stepping up into my forest and just look into the a bee, and I literally sense this overwhelming of love. It's like I was just totally lost in space, lost, and you have to taste it yourself. And it takes years of journey. Nita has walked for so many years, and for me too, would have walked for so many years. To open that door, the key to my heart, to God, to come back home to God in me, to be embodied, that I won't just say embodied union in God, but really divine union in God. The word came to me, divine union. And people will think, what is this union, right, Nita? Union in God? You must be kidding. But truly, this is who we are, our true divine self. Um, I mean, before I really did the contemplation with Nita, all these things will be like, I have read about mystics, it's like, oh, it's so far-fetched. It's like, no, these are only for the holy people, for the saints people. Actually, it's nothing to do with holy people or saints. I think we just label them as such. But truly, even the saints, if you really truly dive into the story of their who they are very human, very, very human. And just like us. So if I've not walked this journey, if I've not taken this path, and if I've not listened to my heart and soul desire, truly to my soul, and say, yes, it's time. Because it's been years that the desire has been for years, and I just got lost into the chasing after the my professional work and so forth and so forth, and whether when the desire has already been, I won't use the word planted, it's already in us naturally. It will come a time, it has been always subtly, softly prompting us, but do we hear it? Do we not just even hear it, are we even aware? Sometimes we're not even aware of it. However, God drops notes, I'll call it love notes, little pockets here and there. But are we aware? Do we pay attention to it? Do you even notice it's there? At the moment you notice it, you sense it, you hear it, a soft voice. It can be a voice, it can be just a soft drop of love notes from here and there. It's never the same again. Never the same again.
Yeah, and that's why, as you said, it's because if it's truly the soul's desire, it came as a seed, as part of the soul, and ideally we should have nourished it, watered it, provided it with sunshine as we grow older. But oftentimes we have, instead of doing that, we've done the opposite. We disrupted its process. We disrupted its growth. And as you said, because it came from the soul, whether we use the word heart or soul, to me they are very interchangeable. Sometimes when I refer to the heart, I really mean my soul, and vice versa. But then, if we talk about union, even before we talk about union with God, union in our heart, mind, and spirit and body. So hence that sense of embodied union, in my opinion, is also that sense of when we bring action and contemplation together, when we bring soul and action together, that you not just walk the talk or live out the journey, but in your daily actions, in your jobs, etc., you are making decisions that match that. Again, because of my belief that when it comes from the soul, all our souls come from the same source. So meaning your soul, my soul, we all came from the same place, ideally. Whether we call it heaven, whether we call it God, or whether we just call it universe, it's totally fine. And a piece of the whole will recognize another piece in the whole, meaning that if that desire came from my soul, it should not be in conflict with your soul's desire.
Exactly.
It should either match, complement, collaborate with your soul, with other souls. And that's what I believe in, when we talk about embodied union. It's not just me, my whole self in union, in ideally in balance, ideally in sync. We are not always in sync, right? But also then when we can find that union within and with ourselves, then with others. And hence that notion of even semi-hermit of finding that balance of your own life. Like I was telling you earlier that, to me, calling myself a semi-hermit may mean that I live in the countryside most of the time, but maybe 2-3 times a year, I go to cities around the world to teach, to do this work with people in all these cities. And ideally, I try to make them all happen one place at a time, continuously, so that once I finish all the travels, I come back to my hermit life, right? But at the same time, like I said, to make sure that even if I live in the country, I'm not completely out of touch with what's going on in cities, because that's where a lot of the people we meet, that's where they are. That's where the energy of the world is also, largely generated from. And to know that we are on the right track, I have to acknowledge and be very grateful for some of my, whether I use the word spiritual direction for the work that we do, or whether I call it holistic coaching. To me, it's the same thing. It's literally being very holistic, mind, body, and spirit, whether as we counsel people, or whether we coach people, or whether we use the term therapy. But what I'm grateful for and what I'm really excited about is that some of these clients of mine, they work for the police force, for example. They are counselors at the university, for example, or just secular counselors or psychologists, etc., etc. Or even one of my most precious letter is the letter I received from a woman in prison in Hong Kong, and that is, like I say, it's just precious even today, even though it happened many years ago. Because to know that our work or our books is reaching people in places we never imagined. For example, I think when I started, it was wonderful if I could reach students, if I could reach the secular world, if bring our coaching into corporate world. And that's also my desire, that we continue coaching people who are in the corporate scene, like some of our friends. But yeah, I think I was super excited to know that one of my current client or directly is actually working for the police department, because you really then know that you are helping or touching. I won't say making a contribution. I think that's her, not so directly me, but indirectly we are touching the people that she meets. Indirectly, we are hopefully making a contribution to society in that sense. And so, yes, when it is truly embodied union, when it is balance of because as hermits, we get to do all this work online via Zoom, Skype, WhatsApps, just like many other people in today's world that they get to work from home. But just because we're working from home, we are still connected. And that's the gift of the internet that we should never, never, never underestimate. That rather than, make using the internet for bad, let's give it more power by using it to empower more people around the world.
Yes, I totally agree with Nita, because that is if I'm in Netherlands and Nita is in Malaysia. If it's not for the internet, I would not be possible to do the 30 days. It's impossible. I could not have, I couldn't take a month off from my family at the time to do the 30 days retreat. It started off with 8 days, 5 days to 8 days. And, when I came back to Singapore, at a time I was so caught up with my work, I could not fly to Nita to Malay, to Bukit, what is the name again? St. Anne's Church in Penang, near Penang. It's not in Penang itself. Bukit Petanja, right? Am I right, Nita?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm not very good at my name. I'm still a human being, so yeah, if it's not for I couldn't fly down, and maybe it's also not the timing and everything. So when the calling is so strong, the prompting is so strong, then I asked Nita, how I want to do it, but I cannot fly down. How? So she said, why don't we do online? And we did. And I tell you, it's amazing. It's not just amazing, it's we are really connected. If you trust, if we allow, if we let, for me it's God. If we let God be in the journey, everything is possible. I remember Teresa Avila said, we just need to be patient. Everything is possible. So, if it's not the journey that I have taken, if I'm not walked this, I will not even have take up this online, doing online course, doing online spiritual direction with Nita, and taking up the collaboration in this forest ministry, and say yes to the commitment of full time being a spiritual director. And it's this. It is possible, the 30 days. And our wish is for you to come the 10 days face to face, because it's the last 10 days face to face to do it out of the 30 days, because it's very, very, very different too. I think it's about choices in life. We all have choices in life. I could have said no. The prompting can have come. Even though it may be my heart and soul desire for a very long time, but if my desire at a point of time is to chase after professional status, then this will not have happened. So I however, deep inside me, I just know that this is the way. This, because I just cannot ignore anymore. This is not the first time I got prompting. I had prompting before. And that leads me to many things. Like Anita says, at different phases of life, we have different desire, we have different promptings. And doing my professional work, like the dance therapy, has also one of my deep desire. And that is a gift. It's a gift that I went through the education. It shifted me in the view of education. It shifted me. And like Nita said, I come home, I embody union. My mind, my body, my heart, my soul, everything as one, not fragmented or separated. Because I went through the fragmentation of in my body. To come home in your body is like, wow, finally I'm home. Not the home that under the shelter. You can be under the shelter, but yet you don't feel home with yourself. So it's a gift. A client who used to be my client asked me, why the change? Why the sudden change? I say, well, that point of time, I needed it. And that is truly my heart desire. And I really truly listened to my heart desire to pursue BNT. But it's not about pursuing a career but it's because I love to dance. And I love to dance and I love to use movement and dance with people. And I believe in the power of movement. I believe in the power of dance. And that is where I was led to. And it has been a gift. And when the time comes for me to move on, it was a hard decision. Nita knows it. It was a very, very hard decision to let go, to die to that part of me, the identity. Um, it took me a very long time. It's like it was a real struggle. It was so painful. It was lots of discernment to be going through and lots of back and forth, back and forth. Is it really this is what I'm going and that sort of thing. But when I truly finally able to die to the identity, the identity that I hold on to, that's where I find freedom. I truly find freedom. And before that, I tell you, when Nita asked me to be trained as a spiritual guide, I was like, huh? Are you kidding me? Me? And I asked God, sure not. But actually, truly, that was my desire. I always thought that I had to be a religious to actually lead spiritual direction. And when Nita actually, pray about it and my name popped up and she said, well, no, you are, are you, this is your calling and are you willing to come on board? And immediately I say yes. And then it was another journey again. It's not like a yes, but not a full 100% yes. So I have to walk through the training, the journey, and when the period of time where I had really had to face difficulties, which is quite recent with my father-in-law's illnesses, and there were moments of time where I questioned myself, is this really what I want to do? Um, I even told Nita, I said, Nita, I had even had doubts about it, um, about becoming a spiritual director, because she also invited me to collaborate with her in the forest ministry. Somehow I felt there was a moment of a period, during that period, it was really so hard. I know God is there. I know pockets of moments where I see God, but there were pocket moments where I don't see God. I didn't see God at all because a lot of transition that I had to go through and with the house, with this and that. Even deep inside me, I know God walked with me. But as a human being, sometimes we rely so much of our own strength, we're on our own efforts, on trusting God fully. Um, so there were moments, when I came here, and when I know that everything that has happened is really by the grace of God. It's really God has led me to where it is today. So yeah, and when finally, as I settled down in this forest and things just begin to open, and when I heal myself again, where I could rest, find that balance because it was so hectic. It was very, very hectic during that period. That's why Nita said about semi-hermit life. Finally, I embraced and embodied the semi-hermit life to find rest again in the forest, to recover, to heal, to find that balance in me again, in 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 deeper union with myself, in deeper union with God, in deeper union with the forest. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful that finally um, that heart open up, break open. Um, I think I don't really know what is the dark night of the soul, but however, I think when we plunge into some very dark moments, in deep moments, it's not the first time I plunge into deep moments and dark moments where I felt like I'm in a shadow in dark moment. Every one of us has that moment time to time. However, because of that, entering into that dark moment, I don't know how to put it into word, but really kind of like surrendering and being break open to like, God, I know you are in me. I know you are there. Is ever since then it changes again. It changes again. So I would say um, I shared with Nita. I said that it's hard to be a human being. Seriously, it's tough being a human being. However, in God, it is not difficult. Of course, there are challenges and everything, but it's more of I come a point really trusting 100% in the providence of God, in the abundance of God, and yeah, that theme of full trust 100% was not easy. Was not easy, and finally, I can say that yes, I can trust. I can trust because God is amazing. He it's the little miracles that we talk about. It's not the Nita shared about it's not the desire of the like I want a big house, I want a 5C, Singapore always talk about 5C. It's not that kind of a material achievements or climbing up the ladder. That kind of little miracle is not that. It's some people may have the soul and heart desire, but again, like Nita also said, shared, is it for the greater good of yourself, the greater good of the world, the greater good of others? However, if we chase after all these achievements and it's at the expense of endangering the environment, harming the nature, at the expense of somebody's life, like human slavery, or at the expense of your family, at the expense of your health, I don't think this is a soul and heart desire, true soul, heart, and desire. Maybe it's just um, our mind saying we want this, or maybe we are being geared to believe that this is the way of life. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that it is wrong, but I guess that if we go deep enough, we will come to realize that hey, something is just doesn't sink in love anymore. So the little miracles that we are talking about is really like now, for example, I can share, just talk about a Tony Town and what we discovered in the forest. A well, a well hidden underneath in the forest, which we didn't even know. A well, when the moment that we discovered the well, we water. I break into song, the song of the women at the well, the song, it's like a God gives us spring water. I just couldn't help it but break. That just come to me, break into song. It's like wow, we found a well. We wanted a well when we moved to a place, but we didn't see a well here. So to discover that is like these are little miracles of God. All I can say is that God loves us so infinitely. What we truly desire in our heart, in our soul, what is truly true to our divine nature, not just to ourselves, but on the whole spectrum. I can say that God really make it happen. Like for example, I'm so fascinated by the buzzard, the birds of prey in the abbey, by the bats, by the swallow. And when I moved here, they are here. I call this miracles. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. I don't have to go anywhere anymore. God brought it here. It's very funny. It's like my husband loves birds. He said the one thing that we moved is many different birds. He the only thing that he look out for is birds. And amazingly, the forest is full of various species of bird which we have never seen before. And we wake up with songs of birds. It became an alarm clock. And I really follow natural rhythm now. That it became an alarm clock. It also tells me when I need to go to bed. Because nature, the nature really teaches you so wonderful, amazing lessons. That's why how our forest ministry comes about, diversity. And every little creature, whether it's birds or insect, it is so unique. That's what we believe in our forest ministry. Every human being is unique. That's why we walk with you with all walks of life, like Nita said, with the her client, the police force. We walk with all walks of life in spiritual direction, accompany them in contemplation, which is because, or coaching you is because, so that you can be of service in whatever field that you are in and reach out to the rest. And that is our calling as spiritual directors, as spiritual holistic coach. You may not,
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Nita.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You were saying something.
I mean, it's not that our training doesn't, we will inspire to hold this advanced training. It's not the kind of advanced training where, in a typical education level, basic, intermediate, advanced. What we call advanced I've been sitting on it, Nita has been sitting on it, we have been reflecting on it, we have been contemplating on it. Advanced because it is a journey where you can truly embody union, not just in God, but in all aspects. That's what we call an advance. It's an every, like when Nikita shared with me about miracles, miracles is advanced in the sense where miracles is really you see in every moment of your life. We think miracle is always like, in the Bible, it's only one time happening. I don't think so. That is just one miracle. I think from there onwards, the miracle continues with the lepers, with the prostitutes. Jesus just the one miracle, and the miracle carry on every day. And this is how I see every day now. When Mika talk about miracle, I begin to understand what is the meaning of the. I want to use the word meaning. What is truly miracle? Even in the miracle of the little bees that I just blocked. Even miracle Nika shared with me about her life, how God, the providence. And the gratitude arises from that miracle because of the little miracle in life that is before us. Right, Nita, you'd like to share more about the miracles?
Well, as Elizabeth has shared about her story, and to let everyone have a gist of her life story, very basically moving from the teaching profession to authentic movement therapy, dance movement therapy, also physically moving from Singapore to Holland, etc. And I have been doing this work for at least 13 years now, leading retreats, etc. And a balance of both worlds, of both in retreat centers as well as in the outside world, secular settings, etc. I would say that exactly as what Elizabeth is saying. If we train people, we don't want something too academic anymore.
Yeah.
It came from our own desire because we've had enough of not just academia, the requirements of academia, and I know this because I've actually spent time as an academia in my previous career. I worked in the university in Australia, and it became too structured. We find that the structured meant that it was this constant boxing people in, constant stifling people. It's okay when structure can become a ladder towards creativity, a ladder towards more growth. But there are times when it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where we are at, where we say we don't want it to be to academia. We still talk about so-called theory, we teach theory, but we believe, again, maybe because we're more kinesthetic, we believe in hands-on doing. So if people train with us to become spiritual directors or life coaches, it's a very hands-on process. And because we both live in different countries, and you may too, so it's got to be more than 50% online. But at the same time, like I said, having done this work itself for 13 years, that also meant that walking the walkman that I have come to believe more. We maybe because it's the way we were taught. I would say that all this stuff before I began seem a little too airy-fairy for someone who came from the management world. Seem a little too we were skeptics. So I would say that perhaps it's taken me this 13 years of doing this work to really come to deeper trust. And as Elizabeth said, now when we define miracles, to me, right, for a person who, for most of these 13 years, I didn't have access to a kitchen most of the time. That meant that I'm usually very grateful when people cook for me. But that meant that a lot of the recent recipes, they are, for me, fun because they are experiments. I'm also an artist, so I paint by inspiration, whatever comes. And that's how I cook. I cook like an artist, actually. The miracle for me some days is the fact that nothing ever goes wrong. There's no such thing as wrong recipe, or we made boo-boo with the recipe. Really, it's about the amazing, fantastic, yummy food that comes out of the recipe. For example, I tried making traditional Chinese rice wine, and it's ended up tasting more like European wine. It's like, how crazy is that? Or everything just turns into something else sometimes. Or actually, the true miracle is not that it turned into something else. It became a merger of my favorite types of food. For majority of my adult life, I lived in the West. I've only come back to Asia since 2012. So prior to 2012, the whole of my adult life since I was a teenager have been spent in the West. So my palate is very much a fusion of East and West. I love both Eastern and Western food. So the miracle, the crazy thing is how my wine is a merger of the East and West. Or I tried curing pork recently, like how people cure ham, prosciuttos or Parma hams in Italy, and I'm trying to cure them based on the traditional Chinese recipe. And again, it's so crazy that my pork, my cured pork, is a fusion of both East and Western taste. Despite the fact I didn't put anything Western into it, I put soy sauce and Chinese rice wine. But yes, these are the miracles. These are the miracles of the and how divine to me is how it's like, oh my God, it tastes so fantastic. It tastes divine. Again, because I don't cook much, so when I am able to produce fantastic food, that is a miracle in itself. But also the sense of I never run out of food, not because I keep cooking. That yes, I share what I make with others. But at the same time, people are surprising me often by stopping by and sharing their food too. So you could say that we have a barter system, but it's, coming from the city first, where we may not even know our neighbors, to now moving into countryside where, to be very honest, I define myself as antisocial. So I don't know that many neighbors. But yet I can honestly say that I will never go hungry. There is always something. People share their vegetable gardens that, they say, go pluck whatever you want, go harvest whatever you want. And I didn't have to do the gardening myself. But at the same time, you share what you have, and maybe that becomes the abundance, the providence that they receive. And these are very little, they are simple but everyday life examples of how miracles are taking place every day. And, divineness is found everywhere, whether you live in the city or in the country. And in today's world, so many things are possible. It's the choices that you make in your life. It's what you choose to do and how you choose to see the world. And to stay in gratitude will help cultivate contentment. So yes, Elizabeth spoke about our advanced training as well. But I think that, the general training or the more basic training was to first listen to yourself, was to find yourself. And the so-called advance is to then allow both God, the world, as well as yourself, everyone around you becomes a positive instrument in making you more fully who you are, making you more fully the way you were meant to be, or the way God meant you to be. And yet, Elizabeth mentioned spring of living water, to live life more fully than ever before. That, for example, I would say that my life now is more minimal than before. But it's really because I have such great joy from what I have, that through living this life for the past few years, I very naturally discard more and keep less. And that this is the abundance, just like how Elizabeth has so-called minimized by moving to the forest, that we have a more abundant life now, despite having less material items clouding our physical spaces. So we have less things in the room, less things in the house, and yet more abundance. Yeah, I think it's a good place to maybe end this conversation.
Yes.
With miracles, divineness, and abundance.
Yes.
So I thank you, people who have been with us through this conversation. I wish you could join us for this conversation, and know that that is possible. Just contact us. We can always make appointments to have either just one-on-one conversations with either myself or Elizabeth, or you, if you so desire, we could have a tea for 3 and have a conference call like this, Zoom like this, where we can invite more than just 1 or 2 person. So thank you for having been with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and we hope to see you.
Yeah, thank you for your divineness. Blessings.